Hello, I am Wanderer001 and this is my review of the TP-Link Smart Plug HS100. Now I throw in the HS100 because it is important to know that little extra extension, and that extra extension means that this particular smart plug does not actually track power usage. It will tell you how long the plug has been on for, but not how much kilowatts or watts have passed through the plug. So it is important to know that if you are looking for a smart plug that will tell you electrical throughput, this is not the plug you're looking for. However, if you would like a smart plug that you can control from your smartphone or using Amazon Echo integration and don't mind not knowing kilowatts or watts, then this is something you might be interested in. So with that said, the TP-Link Smart Plug is 5 ounces in weight and has a length from top to bottom here of 4.25 inches, a width of 2.75 inches, and a depth from front to the prongs of 2.75 inches. And just for those who might want a visual, here is the TP-Link next to a deck of cards, give you a general idea of how large this actually is. The plug itself is rather chunky, and during the setup process you'll see just how much space it takes up on an electrical outlet in the US and most other places as well. But do not let that deter you. It is a small factor and can be avoided or changed if you place your plugs correctly. Now, the reason that you may be looking at this or considering this particular plug is, one, the price. Of all the connected plugs that I've seen with the features that I was looking for, TP-Link here was the cheapest. You can generally get it anywhere from $40 to $30 or even a little less if they are running a sale. The other beauty of the TP-Link plug here, or the TP-Link system in general, because this is an entire system, you do need to have the TP-Link Kasa app either on Android or your iOS device in order to use the on-off switch on a cell phone. If you are going to try and control this device from outside of your home network, you will also have to create an account with Kasa, but that's not terribly difficult. The beauty of TP-Link in general is it is not a device that requires a home hub. Now, some people think that is a plus and minus because, one, if you don't have a hub, you have several more devices connecting to your Wi-Fi network instead of one hub connecting to the network and then all the devices connect to that. If you don't want to mess around with a hub, or if this is your first foray into connected devices, having no hub and something like this is really, really good in my opinion. Now, looking at the front of this here, you see where you would actually plug in your device. You have a Wi-Fi indicator as well as a physical button that you can hopefully hear that because I have a lapel mic, but that is a on-off if you wanted to use the device itself to turn something on and off. Let's hypothetically say you had a switch that was easier to get to the wall plug than the light switch or the lamp or whatever. And up here, you have a reset button. So, setup. How hard is it to set it up? Well, let me show you exactly what I went through when I was setting up the TP-Link plug here. Did it off camera, but had to switch it to the TP-Link Wi-Fi network that was created. Started over, did a complete factory reset. Wi-Fi is now solid amber. Next. In about 15 seconds it will start to blink. And it is blinking. So it's dropping Wi-Fi that you were connected to get onto it. We're going to call this Christmas tree. We're going to select that. Alright, so now this time it wants us to be on HAL. So we're going to do that. Okay, we're going to connect it to HAL. Alright, looks like it's done this time. Yeah, turning the tree on and off. Alright, so this isn't the easiest setup to see, but there is the smart plug in the lower right, as well as my light configuration Christmas tree. If we pan up, you'll see two bulbs right there that will turn on and off based on me flicking the switch on the Kasa app. So here we go. You can see the plug is changed. So it shows whether it's on or off based on me clicking this app, as well as I'm going to pan up and you can see that those lights are in fact on when it should be. And if I tap it again, not the best focus right now, but you get the idea. So while setup was not quite as easy as I thought it was going to be, it was still relatively simple to do, and albeit I might have took a little more time trying to film it and set it up together. So once you have the TP-Link set up, what does it look like when you're trying to actually use the app, the Kasa app, to control this device? When you first log into the Kasa app, if you have smart devices already attached to your account, you will see them here. Here you can see I have a smart light bulb and a smart switch. The switch I have changed so that it's called fan as opposed to what I originally had it set for. So from the main screen, you can either power on and off the device if you select a particular device. In this case, I'm selecting the switch because, well, the switch is what the review is about. You can see a total summary of runtime for today. Now, keep in mind that this particular TP-Link smart plug does not track the actual wattage or kilowatts used by the device. It will track the amount of time that it was on, but not how much power it's used. And again, from this screen, you can power on and off the device. You can change the icon here. I'll show you how to do that, as well as changing the title. If we come down to where it says 8.8 hours. Generally, I leave this fan turned on overnight to generate white noise. If I click this little arrow over here, it will bring up a summary sheet. So runtime today, currently it has 0 hours because it's not on. Total runtime for today is 8.86. Now here you have it over the past 7 days for averages. Daily average is 8.69. Total runtime of over 60 hours, and in the past 30 days, average runtime of 8.89 hours with a total runtime of 266 hours. So again, you would have to do the math if you wanted to know electrical usage. Now, coming down to the bottom of the page here, you have 3 separate options that you can do: schedule, away, and timer. Now, if we select schedule, you can see I have no schedule set up, but if we push the little button in the upper right, you will get scheduling. So you can set a day and time and whether you want the smart plug to turn on or to turn off. Now, doing it in this particular mode is not going to actually turn the device on and off. You are going to set up a schedule and then you can repeat on whatever days of the week you want and hit save. And when you do, it will add it to your schedule area here. Now, away is very similar. It's supposed to mirror you being home. So you would set a start time and an end time, and then you could repeat however many days of the week you want. So it's very much like those old plugs that you would plug in and turn the dial and say at 6 o'clock, turn this light on, and then at midnight, turn the light off to simulate you being home. Well, you can do that through an app now. Timer is just that. You can have the plug turn itself on or off after a set amount of time. So if you want, you turn the plug on and then you set a timer and it turns itself off in 30 minutes to an hour, whatever you want. And you would hit start and that would run the timer. Coming back up to the top of the page, this is where you can actually change a lot of the settings, which is right here. You click on settings and here you can see all the settings. You have device controls. Now, if you do not have a Kasa account and have remote control turned on, you cannot turn on and off the smart plug from a distance. You would have to be on the same Wi-Fi network. So make sure that you turn that on and have an account. Here is device name. If you click on that, you can change the name of the device. Likewise with the device icon, if I click on that, I have a plethora of choices that I can choose from, or I can take a picture or use an existing picture that I have on my camera roll. Coming down here, you have some general settings, time zone, device time. Here's some model, MAC address, hardware, firmware, signal strength, and you could delete the device if you wanted to. And that is the TP-Link UI for the plug. Now there are other things that you can do in the application. Up here in the upper right hand corner, you can add more TP-Link devices. Here you have smart actions, but you need to have a compatible router. I do not, so I will not be using smart actions. Coming back to devices, again, listing of all of your devices, and then you have scene. Scene is very unique in that if you have multiple TP-Link devices, you can set them up to kind of do in this case, I have a good night. I have a light, an LED light, and the switch. And when I press on good night, I want my switch to turn on because I want the fan to turn on to generate white noise and the light to turn itself off. So when I click on this, this is what I get. Here's the setup for the bedroom. You can see that there are two cats hanging out on the bed. Currently over there is the fan, and over here out of frame is a TP-Link light bulb. Now if I press the scene, the light will turn out and the fan will turn itself off. So hopefully you'll be able to hear the fan because the light will turn itself off. So if I come over here and click on scene, now I do wish that I could make the Amazon Echo compatible with that, but haven't been able to figure out how to do that yet. If you know, let me know in the comments below. With scenes, if you wanted to add a new scene or a new selection of devices, you come up here, press the plus sign, and then you have several choices. You can use a pre-existing scene, which will give you the title and an idea of what it should do, or you can create a custom scene, and what it will do is it will show you all of your TP-Link items, and then you can select and have them do different things. Now, if I come back to this scene, which I've set up, if I select edit, I can change the scene name or the scene behavior, which if I select scene behavior will show you the two items. And what it's showing is I want the light off and the TP-Link plug to turn on, which in this case is the fan. And then you can preview it, and if you preview it, it will show you or have those devices do what you are trying to have it do. And what I'm going to say last is the hamburger button over here, which takes you to the application information. So if you click on My Kasa, it brings you back to that main page that I started with. Settings will allow you to check your location time. And then you have firmware. Now firmware, it will run a check on all the TP-Link devices that you have and check if their firmware is up to date. Now, it does not push notifications of if there is updated firmware. So here you can see my smart plug is up to date, but my smart bulb is not. Now, it never informed me that my smart bulb was out of date and needed to be updated. So you will have to come into the firmware there and check that yourself. Last but not least, you have About and Help, and that is the Kasa app in a nutshell. Well, you may be saying to yourself, well, that's all well and good. It's nice that you can control it with the app. Setup doesn't look terribly difficult for something like this, but what differentiates this from other devices? Well, I will tell you. One, it has Amazon Echo compatibility. So you can use a trigger phrase to turn this particular device on and off. So let me show you what it's like to set up the Kasa app with the Amazon Echo ecosystem, because it is a skill that you need to activate. So unlike some smart devices, you may be able to get away with having Amazon Echo already integrated with them and not needing a skill, but the TP-Link does need you to enable the Kasa skill. So again, not a terrible thing. Here's what that looks like. Here is the link, so we can enable the skill. So we have to put in our information so it can access. Alright, so we've authorized it. Alright, after you install, you have to come here and select Discover Devices. And right there it's discovering. So it found one smart plug. And here is a demo of what it looks like to use the Kasa skill to control the TP-Link. Now, I will warn you, I'm going to say the trigger phrase for the Amazon Echo several times during this portion of the video, so you may wish to mute your Amazon Echo or turn down the video. Now, I will also state that this will show you the naming convention. When I was testing this, I was doing it on some Christmas lights, and it was the only smart device I had on my network. So I played with the voice commands to see just how loose the trigger phrase could be to activate the plug. Alexa, turn on Christmas tree.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off Christmas tree.
Okay.
Alexa, turn on Christmas lights.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off Christmas lights.
Okay.
Alexa, turn on Christmas.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off Christmas.
Okay.
So there you have it. What it looks like to set up the Amazon Echo trigger phrase, what it's like to set up the TP account. Now, you may be asking yourself, what about power consumption? What does this use when standing idle? So when it's just connected to your home network? Well, that's the beauty of it. It does not use a lot of electricity. It does use some because it does connect to the Wi-Fi and stay connected. That's how you can trigger it or voice command it. And when it's connected, just idling, the power is not powering a device that's passed through it. It uses between 0.7 to 0.8 watts idling, which in my opinion is not terrible. Especially for something like this, it is very useful when you're sick in bed. I had plenty of experience with this in January when I caught the flu and then my wife caught the flu and we were bedridden for roughly a week apiece and relapses and all of that. So it was very nice to be able to trigger our lights and fan on and off without having to get out of bed. Now, the one problem with the TP-Link here is it has this light here. This light stays on all the time, letting you know that, hey, it's connected to the Wi-Fi network. It's a light, it is a dull greenish yellow glow, but because we have it in a bedroom, it is more noticeable. Now, I have a bunch of stuff stacked up in front of it because the particular plug that this is plugged into is behind a TV set, so it doesn't bother me as much, but just be aware it is going to shine a little bit of light and you want to know that, hey, that's going to stay on. It's not terrible. It's not a deal breaker for me, but it is something that I want you to be aware of. Now, the last positive that I will say about this, and it's something that I had to learn when my wife was first dealing quotes, with learning how to use the smart plugs. She would turn the switch on and off instead of using the voice command or the app. If power is lost to the TP-Link plug here, it will remember the last status that it was at. So if your light was on, it will remember that the light was on. And when it gets powered back up and connects to the network again, it will power that light back on. Could be useful, well, is useful and has been useful when my wife was learning how to use this. But if you have a power outage and forget that your lamp is on and then the power comes back on in the middle of the night, your lamp's going to come back on. So plus and minus, but more of a plus in my opinion. With all that said, I really like TP-Link Smart Plug HS100. Again, I'm going to reiterate, if you are looking to get started with smart homes, for the price and ease of use of this, I would highly suggest that you can get a whole bunch of them and play with different lights or different things in your house. Me personally, when we first got it, we were using it for the Christmas lights, as you saw. So just being able to do that, think about it. You have a whole strand of Christmas lights, tree, around your fireplace, whatever, on a extension cord plugged into this. You could turn that all on and off in one shot using your voice. So again, if you are thinking about getting started with a smart home and are just looking to start with a plug, I highly recommend the TP-Link Smart Plug here, HS100. So no electrical metering, but it will tell you how long something's on and off for. Even with the size being a little chunkier than I would like, you have to think there's Wi-Fi antenna in here and all the smarts built in. So, but the size, not terrible. We give it a thumbs up, would recommend. So with that said, I have been Wanderer 001. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching.